Echoes in the Dark, a 50-minute collection of true horror stories. Introduction. Hello. Thank you for being here tonight. I want you to take a moment before we begin. Find somewhere comfortable. Somewhere you feel safe. Let the sound of rain surround you. Let it create a wall between you and everything else. Let the thunder remind you that nature is vast and we are small. What you're about to hear are 3 accounts. 3 experiences shared with me by people who encountered something they couldn't explain. Something that changed how they understand reality. I've protected their identities. Changed certain details. But the core of each story remains exactly as it was told to me. These aren't fabricated tales meant to thrill you. They are memories. Burdens. Moments that people carry with them every single day. Moments they can't forget no matter how hard they try. Over the next 50 minutes we'll explore 3 different encounters with the unexplainable. The first will take us into the mind of someone who couldn't trust their own perception. The second will show us what happens when the dead refuse to stay silent. And the third will reveal that some mysteries are never meant to be solved. The rain you hear isn't just background noise. It's a companion. Something constant while we venture into experiences that defy constancy. Let it anchor you. Remind you that you're here. Listening. Safe. The first story takes place in a rental house in rural Vermont. A place where one woman discovered that isolation doesn't always mean you're alone. That sometimes the most terrifying presence is the one you can almost see. Almost hear. Almost touch. But never quite confirm. So breathe deeply. Let the rain wash over you. And let's begin our journey into the spaces between certainty and doubt. Story 1. The Watcher in the Walls. Have you ever felt certain someone was watching you only to find yourself completely alone? My name is Sarah. I'm 34 years old. I work remotely as a software developer. 2 years ago I decided to leave the city. I was burned out. Exhausted by noise and crowds and the constant pressure of urban life. I wanted quiet. Space. Time to think. I found a rental house online. Small place in northern Vermont. 2 bedrooms. Wood stove. Surrounded by forest. The listing said the nearest neighbor was 3 miles away. That sounded perfect. I signed a 6-month lease without even visiting. Just packed my things and drove north. The house was older than the photos suggested. Built sometime in the 1930s. White clapboard siding that needed paint. A sagging front porch. Windows with old wavy glass that distorted the view. But it was clean inside. Furnished. Everything I needed. I moved in on a grey October afternoon. The leaves were already falling. The air smelled like wood smoke and decay. That sweet rot of autumn. I carried my boxes inside. Set up my workspace in the larger bedroom. Made coffee in the tiny kitchen. Stood on the porch watching the forest darken as evening came. It was so quiet. Not silent. The forest made sounds. Wind in the trees. Birds settling for the night. Branches creaking. But no human sounds. No traffic. No voices. No mechanical hum. Just nature doing what nature does. I loved it immediately. Felt my shoulders relax for the first time in months. This was exactly what I needed. Solitude. Peace. Time to reset. The first week was perfect. I worked during the day. Took walks in the forest. Cooked simple meals. Read books I'd been meaning to read for years. Slept deeply. Woke refreshed. I felt myself healing. Becoming whole again. Then I started noticing things. Small things at first. I'd be working at my desk and catch movement in my peripheral vision. Just a flicker. A shadow crossing the doorway. I'd look up and nothing would be there. Empty hallway. Still air. I'd hear footsteps. Soft. Coming from the other bedroom. The one I was using for storage. I'd stop typing. Listen. The footsteps would stop too. I'd get up to check. The room would be empty. Boxes exactly where I'd left them. No disturbance. I told myself it was the house settling. Old houses make noise. Especially wooden houses. Especially in changing temperatures. The nights were getting cold. The days still warm. The wood was expanding and contracting, creating sounds. That's all it was. But the sounds were too regular, too patterned, too much like footsteps. I started keeping my headphones on while I worked, playing music, drowning out the house sounds. That helped during the day. But at night I couldn't ignore it. I'd be lying in bed, reading or scrolling on my phone, and I'd hear it. Someone walking in the living room. Slow, deliberate steps, crossing from one side of the room to the other, then back, then stopping, like someone pacing, thinking, waiting. The first time it happened, I grabbed a kitchen knife, crept out of my bedroom, turned on every light, checked every room, every closet, every space large enough to hide a person. Nothing. No one. The doors were locked. The windows secure. I was alone. But I'd heard those footsteps, clear as anything. Someone had been walking in my living room. I didn't sleep that night. Sat in bed with the lights on, knife on my nightstand, listening. The footsteps didn't return. Just the normal sounds of the house. Wind. Branches against the roof. The occasional pop from the cooling wood stove. By morning I'd convinced myself it had been my imagination. Stress. Adjustment to the isolation. My brain creating patterns from random noise. I was tired. That was all. But it happened again the next night. And the night after that. Always the same. Footsteps in the living room. Pacing. Then stopping. Never coming closer to my bedroom. Never threatening. Just there. Present. Undeniable. I started researching the house. Looking for history. For explanations. The property records showed it had been built in 1936. Had changed hands several times. No deaths recorded on the property. No tragic history. Just a house. Old but unremarkable. I called the landlord. Asked if previous tenants had reported anything unusual. Sounds. Disturbances. He laughed. Said no. Said the house was quiet. Peaceful. That's why people rented it. Asked if I was having problems. I said no. Just curious about the history. But I was having problems. The footsteps were becoming more frequent. Not just at night anymore. Sometimes during the day. While I was working, I'd hear them in the other bedroom. Or in the kitchen. Always when I wasn't looking. Always stopping when I investigated. And then I started seeing it. The Watcher. That's what I began calling it in my mind. The presence that made the footsteps. I'd catch glimpses. A shape in the hallway. Tall. Human-sized but not quite human-shaped. It moved wrong. Too smooth. Too fluid. Like it was gliding rather than walking. I'd see it for just a second. Corner of my eye. Then I'd turn and it would be gone. I set up my phone to record while I worked. Positioned it to capture the hallway. Hoping to get evidence. Proof I wasn't imagining this. I recorded for hours. Days. When I reviewed the footage there was nothing. Just an empty hallway. Still. Undisturbed. But I could hear myself on the recording. Hear myself stop typing. Hear my chair creak as I turned to look. Hear my breathing change. I was reacting to something. Something the camera didn't capture. I became obsessed with trying to see it clearly. Trying to catch it. Prove it was real. I'd sit facing the hallway for hours. Watching. Waiting. My work suffered. I stopped taking calls with clients. Stopped meeting deadlines. All I could think about was the Watcher. And the more I watched for it, the more I saw it. Or thought I saw it. I couldn't tell anymore. Was it really there? Was I creating it with expectation? Was my brain filling in shadows with a shape it expected to see? I started having trouble distinguishing between real and imagined. I'd see the shape in the hallway. Blink. It would be gone. But had it ever been there? Or had I imagined the whole thing? The footsteps. The movements. All of it. One night I woke to find it standing in my bedroom doorway. Just standing there, watching me. It was dark. I couldn't see details. Just a silhouette. Darker than the darkness around it. Human-shaped but wrong. Too tall. Arms too long. Head tilted at an angle that wasn't quite right. I couldn't move. Couldn't scream. Couldn't reach for my phone or the light switch. I just lay there frozen, staring at this thing in my doorway. This thing that might or might not be real. We stayed like that for what felt like hours. It watching me. Me watching it. Neither of us moving. Then slowly, so slowly, it raised one hand. Long fingers. Reaching toward me. Not threatening. Almost gentle. Like it wanted to touch me. To make contact. I closed my eyes. Squeezed them shut. Prayed it would be gone when I opened them. Counted to 10. Forced myself to breathe. Then looked again. Empty doorway. Nothing there. Just darkness and the sound of my own heartbeat. I left the next morning. Didn't pack carefully. Just threw things in boxes. Loaded my car. Drove away. I called the landlord from the road. Told him I was breaking the lease. I'd forfeit my deposit. Pay the penalty. Whatever he wanted. I just couldn't stay there anymore. He was upset but agreed. Said he'd find another tenant. Wished me well. Said he hoped I found what I was looking for. I didn't tell him I wasn't looking for anything anymore. I was running. Running from that house. From the watcher. From whatever I'd seen or thought I'd seen or imagined I'd seen. I moved back to the city. Back to noise and crowds and distraction. Back to a world where I couldn't hear footsteps that shouldn't be there. Couldn't see shapes that might not exist. But sometimes late at night when my apartment is quiet, when I'm alone with my thoughts, I still see it. That shape in the doorway. That hand reaching toward me. And I wonder, was it real? Was there really something in that house? Some presence. Some watcher. Something that existed in the spaces between perception and reality? Or was it me? Was I so desperate for connection? So starved for interaction after years of isolation and burnout, that my brain created a companion? A presence to fill the void? A watcher to give meaning to the silence? I'll never know. Can never know. Because I can't go back. Can't verify. Can't prove or disprove what I experienced. All I know is that for 3 weeks in a house in Vermont I was not alone. Something was there with me. Watching me. Walking through rooms I couldn't see. Making sounds I couldn't explain. Appearing in shapes I couldn't quite focus on. Real or imagined. It changed me. Made me question everything I perceive. Everything I believe I see and hear and know. Because if I could be so wrong about that, if I could spend 3 weeks reacting to something that might not have existed, what else am I wrong about? What else do I see that isn't there? What else do I miss that is? The mind is a powerful thing. It creates our entire reality. Every sight, every sound, every sensation, filtered and interpreted and constructed by our brains. And if that construction can include a watcher that isn't there, what else might it include? What else might it exclude? I don't live alone anymore. Can't. Need the presence of other people. Real people. People I can verify exist. People who see and hear the same things I do. People who can confirm reality. Because I learned something in that house. Something terrifying. The scariest monster isn't outside. Isn't in the shadows. Isn't watching from the dark. The scariest monster is the one that might be inside. The one your own mind creates. The one you can't escape because it lives in your perception. In your interpretation. In the space between what's real and what you believe is real. And once you've met that monster, once you've questioned your own perception that deeply, you never fully trust yourself again. So I surround myself with noise. With people. With constant verification of shared reality. And I try not to think about that house. About those footsteps. About that shape in the doorway with its hand reaching out. But on quiet nights, when I'm alone with my thoughts, I still wonder, was it real? And if I went back, if I stood in that doorway again, would I see it? Would you? Or would there be nothing there at all? Nothing but an empty room and the echo of footsteps that might have only ever existed in my mind. Story 2, The Last Call. What would you do if someone you buried called your phone in the middle of the night? This story was shared with me by a man named Robert. He's 56 years old now. Works as an accountant. Lives a quiet, conventional life. Married. 3 grown children. Nothing about him suggests someone who's experienced the impossible. But 10 years ago something happened that he still can't explain. Something that violates every rule of reality he thought he understood. He's never told his wife. Never told his children. Said he's only telling me because he needs someone to know. Someone to carry this story if something happens to him. My brother Daniel died in a car accident. Robert began. He was 42. Single. Worked construction. Good guy. We weren't super close as adults. Different lives. Different priorities. But we loved each other. Talked every few weeks. Saw each other on holidays. The accident happened on a Tuesday. Head-on collision. The other driver crossed the center line. Daniel died instantly. That's what the police said. Instantly. Didn't suffer. I got the call at work. My mom. Hysterical. Barely coherent. Took me a few minutes to understand what she was saying. Your brother. There's been an accident. He's gone. I left immediately. Drove to my parents' house. Spent the next week making arrangements. Funeral. Burial. Notifications. All the terrible logistics of death. My mom was destroyed. My dad withdrawn. I had to hold it together. Be the responsible one. Handle everything. The funeral was on Saturday. Small service. Daniel had friends but not many. Some co-workers. Some people from his neighborhood. Our family. Maybe 50 people total. We buried him in the cemetery where our grandparents are buried. Simple headstone. His name. His dates. Beloved son and brother. I went back to work the next week. Tried to return to normal. Checked on my parents regularly. Made sure they were eating. Sleeping. Processing their grief. I was so focused on taking care of everyone else I didn't really deal with my own feelings. Just pushed through. Stayed busy. Stayed functional. 3 weeks after the funeral I got a call. 2 in the morning. I was asleep. Phone buzzing on my nightstand. Pulled me out of deep sleep. I grabbed it without looking. Answered groggily. Hello, I said. Rob. Male voice. Familiar. I was too tired to place it immediately. Yeah, who's this? It's me. It's Daniel. I was suddenly completely awake. Sitting up. Heart pounding. Who is this? That's not funny. Rob, I need help. I'm stuck. I can't find my way. The voice. It sounded like Daniel. Exactly like Daniel. Same tone. Same inflection. Even the way he said my name. Rob. Not Robert. Always Rob. This is a sick joke, I said. My brother is dead. Stop calling. I hung up. Sat there shaking. Someone was messing with me. Had to be. Some cruel prank. Maybe someone who knew Daniel. Knew me. Thought this was funny. I checked the caller ID. Unknown number. I tried calling it back. Disconnected. Not in service. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. Just lay there angry and confused and unsettled. Wondering who would do something so cruel. Why they would do it. I didn't tell anyone about the call. Didn't want to upset my parents. Didn't want to give the prankster the satisfaction of knowing they'd gotten to me. Just tried to forget it. Tried to move on. But exactly 1 week later it happened again. 2 in the morning. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Hello. Rob, please. I'm lost. I need you to help me find the way. Daniel's voice. Undeniable. But wrong somehow. Distant. Echoing. Like he was calling from somewhere far away. Somewhere with strange acoustics. Where are you, I asked. Not believing. Not understanding. But unable to help myself. I don't know. It's dark. There are others here but I can't see them. I can hear them but I can't reach them. Rob, I'm scared. Daniel, you're dead. We buried you 3 weeks ago. This isn't real. I know I'm dead. But I'm still here. Still somewhere. And I can't find the light. Can't find the way forward. Everyone keeps telling me to move on but I don't know where to go. I was crying now. Silent tears running down my face. This couldn't be happening. Dead people don't call. Don't need help. Don't get lost. What do you want from me? I don't know. I needed to hear your voice. Needed to know someone remembers me. Needed to feel connected to something real. We talked for 20 minutes. He asked about mom and dad. About my kids. About ordinary things. The conversation felt normal. Natural. Like we were just catching up. Like he wasn't dead. Then the line started crackling. Breaking up. His voice fading. I have to go, he said. It's pulling me somewhere. Rob. Tell mom I'm sorry. Tell her I love her. The line went dead. I sat in my bed in the dark holding my phone. Completely overwhelmed. Completely lost. The calls continued. Every week. Always at 2 in the morning. Always the same unknown number that didn't work when I tried calling back. Always Daniel. Always sounding a little more distant. A little more faded. Like he was moving further away each time. We talked about everything. His life. My life. Memories from childhood. Things he regretted. Things he wished he'd done differently. He told me he was in a place between. Not heaven. Not hell. Just between. Waiting. Trying to find his way to whatever comes next. He said there were others there. Countless others. All lost. All looking for the light. All trying to move forward. Some had been there for years. Decades. Unable to let go. Unable to cross over. I asked why he could call me. Why he had access to a phone. He said there wasn't a phone. Not really. He was just able to reach across somehow. Make contact. He didn't understand it himself. Just knew that at certain times he could push through. Connect with the living. And I was the one he was connected to. The one he could reach. I didn't tell anyone. Who would believe me? I barely believed it myself. I'd check recordings of the calls. They'd be there. Proof. But the voice on the recordings sounded strange. Hollow. Not quite right when I listened back. Like it was filtered through something that distorted it. After 3 months the calls started changing. Daniel sounded different. Tired. Resigned. He said he was ready to move on. Ready to let go. He'd figured out what was holding him back. What kept him in the between place. Fear, he said. Fear of nothingness. Fear of ending. Fear of not existing anymore. But he'd realized that holding on was worse. That being stuck in the dark between was worse than whatever came next. The last call came on a Wednesday. Exactly 3 months and 2 weeks after the funeral. 2 in the morning as always. Rob, I found it. The way forward. I can see the light now. It's beautiful. I'm going to go. Wait, I said. I'm not ready. I need more time. You need to let me go, Rob. You've been holding on too. We both have. But it's time. I love you. Tell everyone I love them. And thank you. For talking to me. For keeping me connected. It made the waiting easier. Don't go, I said. Please. I have to. But I'm not scared anymore. And you shouldn't be either. Death isn't the end. It's just different. Complicated. But not the end. The line went dead. I tried calling back. Nothing. Disconnected. I waited the next week. 2 in the morning. Staring at my phone. Willing it to ring. Nothing. The week after. Nothing. He was gone. Really gone this time. Robert stopped talking. Stared at his hands. They were steady but his eyes were wet. I've never received another call, he said. That was 10 years ago. And I've spent every day since questioning what happened. Was it real? Did I really talk to my dead brother for 3 months? Or was it grief? My brain creating what I needed to process the loss? I have the call logs. Proof that calls came in. But from unknown numbers. No way to verify who was really on the other end. Could have been anyone. Could have been anything. Could have been nothing but my own mind playing tricks. But I don't think so. I think it was Daniel. I think he was really stuck somewhere. Really needed help. Really found his way forward. And I think I helped him. Just by listening. Just by believing. Just by staying connected. And I think, I hope, that when my time comes, when I'm in that dark between place, someone will answer when I call. Someone will listen. Someone will help me find the light too. Because death isn't the end. It's just a transition. A crossing. And sometimes people need help making that crossing. Need a voice from the other side to guide them. To remind them they're not alone. To help them let go. I asked Robert if he's afraid of death now. After what he experienced. He smiled. Sad but genuine. No, he said. I'm not afraid. Because I know Daniel made it through. I know there's something on the other side of the darkness. Something bright. Something good. And I know that when it's my turn someone will be there. Waiting. Ready to help me find my way. Death calls us all eventually. And maybe when it calls, someone we've lost will be on the other end. Ready to guide us home. I think about Robert's story often. About those calls from the between place. About Daniel finding his way forward. About the possibility that death isn't an ending but a journey. And I wonder how many calls like that happen. How many grieving people receive contact from the other side. How many dismiss it as imagination or grief or impossible. How many answer. How many listen. How many help the dead find their way. The phone is such a strange object. A device that connects voices across distances. That allows us to speak to people far away. But what if distance isn't just physical? What if sometimes the distance is between life and death? Between here and there? Between now and after? What if the ringing in the middle of the night isn't always a wrong number? What if sometimes it's someone calling from the dark? Looking for light. Looking for help. Looking for one last connection to the world they left behind? If your phone rings late tonight, if an unknown number appears, if you hear a familiar voice on the other end, a voice of someone who's gone, don't hang up. Don't dismiss it. Listen. Talk. Help them find their way. Because maybe death isn't the end of connection. Maybe love reaches across all boundaries, all distances, all states of being. Maybe the dead don't leave us. They just move to a different place. And sometimes they can still reach back. Still call. Still connect. And all they need is someone to answer. Someone to believe. Someone to help them find the light. Story 3. The faces in the photograph. Some images capture more than what the camera sees, and some moments are witnessed by more than just those present. This final account comes from a woman named Jennifer. She's a professional photographer. Has been for 20 years. Shoots weddings, events, portraits. She's seen thousands of photos. Taken hundreds of thousands. Knows her equipment. Knows her craft. Knows what's possible and what isn't. But 5 years ago she captured something that shouldn't be possible. Something that violated every rule of photography she understands. Something she still has. Still looks at. Still can't explain. We met at her studio. Small space in a strip mall. Walls covered with her work. Beautiful images. Perfect composition. Professional quality. She showed me her portfolio. Her awards. Her credentials. Establishing that she knows what she's doing. That she's not someone who makes mistakes. Then she pulled out a single photograph. Framed. Wrapped in cloth. Hidden in a drawer she keeps locked. She unwrapped it carefully. Placed it on the table between us. I need you to understand what you're looking at, she said. I need you to see it the way I see it. The photograph showed a family. Outdoor setting. Park. Fall colors. Beautiful light. Mother. Father. 2 children. All smiling. Professional posed shot. Nothing unusual at first glance. Look closer, Jennifer said. In the background. I looked. The background was slightly out of focus. Standard technique for portraits. Keeps attention on the subjects. But I could make out shapes. Trees. Path. And people. Lots of people. Dozens of people. Standing among the trees. Watching. All facing the camera. All perfectly still. Their faces were pale. Expressionless. Just staring. I took this photo 5 years ago, Jennifer began. Client hired me for family portraits. Nice people. 2 young kids. They wanted outdoor shots. Natural light. We chose a park. Beautiful location. We'd been there about an hour. Shot maybe 200 images. This was near the end of the session. I took this shot. Standard pose. Good light. Everyone looked great. I checked the image on my camera screen. Looked perfect. Moved on to the next setup. We finished the session. I thanked them. Said I'd have their proofs ready in a few days. Went home. Downloaded the images. Started editing. That's when I saw them. The people in the background. I pulled up the raw file. Zoomed in. They were there. Clear as anything. Dozens of people among the trees. Watching. I was confused. I didn't remember seeing anyone else in the park. We'd had the area to ourselves. That's why we chose that spot. Privacy. No interruptions. But here they were. Dozens of people. In my photograph. I thought maybe they'd been far away. Too far for me to notice while shooting. Just park visitors who happened to be in frame. So I zoomed in more. Enhanced the image. Tried to get a better look at their faces. That's when I realized. They weren't normal. Their faces were wrong. Blurred, but not from motion or distance. Blurred like they weren't quite solid. Weren't quite there. And they were all staring directly at the camera. Not at the family. At me. At the lens. I felt cold looking at that image. Something was wrong. Really wrong. But I couldn't identify what. Just knew those faces shouldn't be there. Shouldn't look like that. Shouldn't be staring like that. I checked the other images from that session. Over 200 photos. Different poses. Different angles. Different backgrounds. Not a single other image showed those people. Just that one shot. One moment. One click of the shutter. And dozens of watchers appeared. I didn't include that photo in the client proofs. Couldn't. Didn't know how to explain it. Delivered the other images. They were happy. Ordered prints. Thanked me. Never mentioned anything unusual. But I couldn't let it go. I had that photograph printed. Large format. High quality. Studied it for hours. Days. Trying to understand. The people were there. Undeniable. Not reflections. Not double exposures. Not processing artifacts. Real figures. In real space. Among real trees. But they weren't real. I knew that. Could feel it. They were something else. Something that existed for just a fraction of a second. Just long enough to be captured by my camera. Then gone. I started researching. Looking for similar cases. Photographers capturing figures that shouldn't be there. Faces in the background of ordinary photos. Watchers. Witnesses. Presences. I found hundreds of examples. Thousands. People sharing photos online. Asking for explanations. Showing images with extra people. Extra faces. Extra figures standing in places they shouldn't be. Most were dismissed as pareidolia. The brain seeing faces in random patterns. Shadows. Light. Coincidence. But some were like mine. Clear. Undeniable. Unexplainable. I found a forum. Photographers who'd experienced the same thing. Who'd captured the watchers. We shared images. Compared notes. Tried to find patterns. We discovered several consistencies. The watchers always appeared in outdoor settings. Natural areas. Parks. Forests. Fields. Never indoors. Never urban. Always nature. Always among trees or grass or water. They always appeared in the background. Never in focus. Never as the primary subject. Always watching from a distance. They always faced the camera. Always stared directly at the lens. Never looked away. Never showed profile. Always frontal. Always watching. And they never appeared in video. Only still images. Only that single frozen moment. As if they existed between frames. In the space between one instant and the next. We theorized. Ghosts. Spirits. Interdimensional beings. Time slips. Echoes from other realities. Every explanation sounded impossible. Ridiculous. But the images were real. The watchers were there. One photographer in the group suggested something different. Something that made a horrible kind of sense. He said maybe they're always there. Always watching. Always surrounding us. But they exist at a frequency or vibration or state that we can't normally perceive. And cameras. Cameras sometimes capture wavelengths the human eye can't see. Moments the human brain can't process. Maybe cameras capture them. The watchers. The witnesses. The presences that surround us always but remain invisible. If that's true. If they're always there. Always watching. What are they? What do they want? Why do they watch? We don't know. Can't know. All we have are the photographs. Evidence that something is there. Something we can't see. Can't interact with. Can't understand. But something that watches. Always watches. Jennifer wrapped the photograph back in its cloth. Returned it to the locked drawer. I still shoot portraits, she said. Still work in parks. Still use natural settings. But I'm always aware now. Always conscious that I might not be alone. That the family smiling for my camera might have dozens of witnesses. Hundreds. All watching. All waiting. All existing in that space between moments. And sometimes I see them. Not with my camera. With my eyes. Just for a second. Movement in the trees. Pale faces. Watching. Then gone. Like they slipped back into whatever space they normally occupy. The space we can't see. Are they dangerous? I don't think so. They just watch. That's all. Watch and witness and exist alongside us. Invisible. Silent. Constant. But knowing they're there. Knowing I'm always being watched by something I can't see. Can't understand. Can't prove exists except for occasional photographic evidence. That changes you. Makes the world feel different. Less solid. Less certain. Less alone. I asked Jennifer if she wishes she'd never seen them. Never captured that photograph. Never learned about the watchers. She thought for a long moment. No, she said. I think it's better to know. Better to understand that reality is more complex than we think. That we share our world with things we can't perceive. That observation works both ways. We watch the world. And the world watches back. Or something in it does. I've thought about Jennifer's photograph often. About the faces in the trees. The watchers among the leaves. The presences that exist in the spaces between what we can see. Are they real? I believe they are. Not in the way we typically understand real. But real in some other way. Some other mode of existence. Maybe they're echoes. Impressions left by people who once stood in those places. Ghosts of moments past. Still occupying the space they inhabited. Still watching. Still present. Maybe there's something else entirely. beings from adjacent realities, dimensions that overlap ours, existing in the same space but at different frequencies, occasionally bleeding through, occasionally visible for just a fraction of a second, just long enough to be captured. Maybe they've always been there, part of the natural world, part of the forest and field and park, guardians, observers, witnesses to everything that happens in their domain, watching over the land, watching over us. I don't have answers. Neither does Jennifer. Neither do any of the photographers who've captured similar images. All we have are the photographs, evidence of something, proof of presences, testimony that we're not as alone as we think. So the next time you're in a park, in a forest, in any natural setting, stop for a moment, look around, pay attention to the space between the trees, the shadows that seem too dark, the movement that might be wind or might be something else. You won't see them, probably won't. The human eye isn't designed to capture what exists between moments, but they might be there, watching, witnessing, existing alongside you in a space you can't perceive. And if you take a photograph, a simple snapshot, a family portrait, a nature shot, look carefully at the background, at the out-of-focus areas, at the spaces you weren't paying attention to. You might see them, pale faces, expressionless, watching, staring at your camera, staring at you, proof that something else is there, something that exists in the margins, something that watches always. And once you've seen them, once you know they're there, you'll never look at a forest the same way, never walk through a park without wondering, never stand in nature without feeling observed, because the watchers are always there, always present, always witnessing, and sometimes, just sometimes, they let themselves be seen, let themselves be captured, let themselves be known. Why? We can't say. Maybe they want us to know we're not alone. Maybe they want us to understand that reality is deeper than we think. Maybe they're trying to tell us something, warn us about something, prepare us for something. Or maybe they're just watching, just witnessing, just existing in their space while we exist in ours. Two realities overlapping, two worlds sharing the same location, mostly invisible to each other, but occasionally, rarely, bleeding through. Pay attention to the photographs you take, the images you capture, the moments you freeze. Look at them carefully. Study the backgrounds, the margins, the spaces you thought were empty. You might find you're not alone in the frame. Might discover faces you didn't see when you pressed the shutter. Might realize that every moment you capture, someone else is capturing too, watching, witnessing, recording in their own way. The watchers are always there, and now you know. Now you'll see them too. Conclusion. And so we come to the end. 3 stories. 3 glimpses into experiences that challenge everything we think we know about reality. 3 accounts of people who encountered something beyond explanation, beyond understanding, beyond the boundaries of what we accept as possible. Thank you for spending this time with me, for listening, for opening yourself to these stories, for allowing the possibility that maybe, just maybe, the world is stranger than we admit. The rain continues outside. Steady, reliable, familiar. Let it bring you back. Remind you that you're here, safe. That what you've heard are experiences that happened to other people. Not to you. Not tonight. But maybe they've happened to you in smaller ways. Maybe you felt watched in an empty house. Maybe you've received a call from an unknown number that felt too familiar. Maybe you've seen something in a photograph that shouldn't be there. Small moments. Easy to dismiss. Easy to explain away. But now you know. You're not alone in those experiences. Others have felt what you've felt. Seen what you've seen. Wondered what you've wondered. And some of them have gone deeper, stayed longer, looked closer, and found that the impossible is more possible than we like to believe. What do we do with this knowledge? How do we live knowing that reality might be more complex than we thought? That watchers might surround us? That the dead might call? That our own minds might betray us? I think we do what we've always done. We continue. We move forward. We accept uncertainty. We embrace mystery. We acknowledge that some questions don't have answers. Some experiences don't have explanations. Some truths exist beyond proof. And maybe that's okay. Maybe not everything needs to be explained. Maybe some things are better left mysterious. Maybe the world is richer, deeper, more meaningful when it contains elements we can't fully understand. The people in these stories, Sarah, Robert, Jennifer, they've all continued, all found ways to live with their experiences, all integrated the impossible into their daily lives. They work, they love, they function, but they know. They carry knowledge that changes how they see everything. And now you carry it too. These stories, these possibilities, these glimpses into the strange. You can dismiss them if you want. Call them fiction. Call them exaggeration. Call them anything that lets you sleep peacefully. Or you can accept them. Hold them. Let them change how you see the world. Let them open you to possibility. Let them remind you that reality is vast and strange and wonderful and terrifying. The choice is yours, as it always is. Thank you again for being here, for listening, for staying with me through these accounts. I hope you found something valuable in them, something true, something that resonates. Sleep well tonight. Let the rain lull you. Let the darkness embrace you. And remember, you're safe. You're here. The stories are over, for now, but the world continues, strange and mysterious and full of experiences waiting to happen, full of moments that will challenge what you believe, full of encounters that will change how you understand reality. Stay open, stay curious, stay aware, and maybe you'll have your own story to tell someday, your own encounter with the impossible, your own glimpse beyond the veil. And when you do, when something happens that you can't explain, when you experience something that shouldn't be possible, remember these stories. Remember you're not alone. Remember others have been there. And maybe you'll share your story too. Add your voice to the collection. Add your experience to the archive. Help others understand that the impossible happens, that the strange is real, that reality is deeper than we know. Until then, good night, stay safe, and let the rain wash over you. Let it cleanse. Let it soothe. Let it remind you that some things are constant. Some things are certain. Some things we can trust. Even as we acknowledge that other things, most things, the vast majority of things, remain mysterious, unexplained, unknown. And that's beautiful. That's wonderful. That's what makes life worth living. The mystery, the uncertainty, the possibility that around any corner, in any moment, something impossible might happen. Good night. Sleep well. And dream of rain and shadows and faces in the trees. The stories continue. Always. Somewhere. Someone is living through an experience like the ones you've heard tonight. Someone is questioning their perception. Someone is receiving an impossible call. Someone is capturing watchers in their photographs. And tomorrow, maybe it will be you. Maybe you'll have a story to tell. Maybe you'll become part of this collection, this archive, this testament to the strange. We're all storytellers, all witnesses, all participants in the vast mysterious reality we share. And every moment, every experience, every encounter adds to the great story, the ongoing narrative, the collective understanding of what's possible. Thank you. Good night. And may your dreams be peaceful, or strange, or both. The rain continues. Always. The darkness waits. Always. And somewhere, always, something watches. Good night.